The Bulldogs punted Des Hasler last year in what was considered to be a great move for the club. It turns out that life member over here, and to be honest, a lot of the supporters are pretty disappointed with the first 2 games. Now, Will, it's not panic stations yet, but how long will it take for this side to click together?
Yeah, it is unfortunate the way that they've started the year. I think the first 20, 25 minutes of the Melbourne game, they showed a different side. You know, they were, you know, for Fatali Mariner, I'm not sure what sort of hairstyle that is, but it's so 2002. You know, he the way that they hit him on the edge with Kieran Foran was outstanding, and I thought they were going to play that the whole game. Then they went back into their old sort of just hitting it up, getting the outside backs in there. But they've come up against 2 pretty good sides, you know, Melbourne and the Roosters. You know, they've been in the games for about 60 minutes, maybe 40, 50 minutes, 60 minutes maybe, and then the last 20 minutes, or there's been a 20-minute patch within the game that they've lost. And to play in the NRL now, you've got to really put a good 70 minutes together, maybe an 80-minute to get to a grand final and stuff like that. It's hard to pinpoint where they're going wrong because they've got strengths all over the park. They've got 3 blokes who play for Australia in their forward pack.
They've signed well. I mean,
they've signed well. They've got Kieran Foran, young back rowers, senior players in the right positions. I just think, you know, maybe they just need maybe a couple more weeks, but I know that the Bulldogs faithful aren't going to put up with it, and they'll be very disappointed if they don't get the next couple of games.
Well, clubs tended to punt you before they punted the coaches. Were you ever at a club where there was a change of coach? I mean, how long does it take for the style of the new coach to take? I mean, is it the fact that it's going to take them 3 or 4 weeks just to get used to each other?
This is where the players have got to take some accountability, because what Dino's, obviously, he's come out in the media and said some things that they're not sticking to the game plan. So you can't really blame. He's given you the game plan. You've just got to execute it. That's the difference. Yeah. And then if other teams game plan on your game plan, it's hard because they know how the Bulldogs play. They've still got that old sort of style of play where they're sending Clemmer 1 out, they're going Woods 1 out. Just because they're big boys doesn't mean anything.
Well, they talk about the dogs of war, but, I mean, realistically, the forward pack haven't been that dominant, really.
They haven't been dominant at all.
No.
You know, like for a pack who boasts the likes of Clemmer, Woods and Jackson, you know,
Jackson's been good.
Jackson's been outstanding. I mean, like Woodsy's still trying to find his feet. Clemmer's a bit behind the 8 ball, but I just think, you know, give it another couple of weeks. I don't think you can, you know, get the line through them yet.
Well, they're talking about instability within the club. They punted club legend Steve Morter for this bloke that's got some sort of questionable history. I can't see any movement at board level. I mean, to be honest, you would have known the board members when you were... Well, actually, you probably would. You fronted them every 2 weeks. But you wouldn't have known the board members. That's not an excuse, is it?
No, you don't care who the board members are when you're playing. It's such a cop-out, you know what I mean? I don't think Woodsy or any of these boys would not care who was on the board. So instability in the club, that does not affect the players. I mean, like, the players are accountable for what they do for 80 minutes on the field and how they turn up during the week and how they perform. That's about it. I said the whole time I was at any club, I wouldn't give a shit who the board members were. Yeah. You only care about your GM and who your coaches and your trainers and all that kind of stuff.
Just for no ripping your contract.
Yeah, that's it. The guy who's going to fine me every week. I mean, but you don't care about that. So these Bulldogs boys, you know, they're going to have a bit of soul searching this week, but not hit the panic station yet. They've been in the games, as I said, like for about 60 minutes, and then they're losing their way. You know, I think Foran needs to be complemented by a player who runs the ball a bit more instead of a ball player. Maybe they should switch positions or something, because a Frawley kid, he's shown a couple of little things that are half decent, but it's really hard to pinpoint, you know, what sort of style they're playing. You know, is it that hardcore dogs of war mentality that everybody's been talking about? You know, do they play a skillful game? Do they combine both? Because I think in this day and age, you've got to combine both. You have a look at the teams that are on top of the ladder, Warriors and St George, power and skill. Yeah. And I'd say the Warriors are ahead in a lot of things on that table. So, yeah, I just think they just need to find out their identity and just give it a couple more weeks. So
Dean Pays, I mean, he was known as a player for his defence, and they've leaked a lot of points in the first 2 weeks. So I think once they tighten that up, they should be all right. Yeah, I mean, like, especially a lot of tries in the last 5 or 10 minutes when the game's gotten away from them won't do their for and against any good. So it's important to jag a couple of these early round games, especially when you are a new team. You've got definitely got some new players in your team. So you need to jag a couple. You can't go 0-4.
No.
And he needs to get rid of that hair. It's no good.
Get rid of it, mate.